So recently I drew this for a short that I made, and I used both of my hands to do it, and it's kind of blowing up, and everyone wants to know, how can you draw with both hands? So this is going to be a little mini tutorial for how you can draw with both hands. It's definitely not just pure talent, and I showed this one, but there are a lot of practice ones that I haven't showed. For example, this was two hands. This was two hands. This one.
This one. This one was a failed one.
If you don't get the idea already, drawing with two hands isn't just some spontaneous talent. It actually takes a lot of practice, and these are all examples of the practice that I do behind the scenes before I choose which ones to put on shorts. So anyway, with that in mind, let's get started. I've been using this paper because it got water damaged and it's great for practicing. So I'm just going to take one of these. With practicing, especially with two-handed, I don't like to use my finest, nicest paper because I have no idea if it's going to come out in a way that I would want to show off. I like to use one sheet of paper so that both my arms can work at the same time, in comparison to like a sketchbook, which would have spirals on one side. That would throw me off. And it's raised and everything, so I like to use just one sheet, nice and flat on the table. Another really important part is taping your paper down, because when you're moving both of your hands, when you're moving your hand in general, but when you're moving both of your hands in a way that's not very familiar to you, your paper's gonna move. So we need to tape that down. So just like to apply a piece of tape. These are little washi tapes, and a little pro hack for you fellow artists out there: if you like to use nice and colorful, fun washi tapes like I do, I get these from, and I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, from Daiso, I believe it's called. I'll put the name on the screen, which is a little Japanese store. I'm in California, so I know they're in California, but I don't know if they're anywhere else. But yeah, so like you can get a pack of these rolls for $1.25, and they come in all these really pretty colors like I got. See, I have this nice kind of like watercolor floral, then I have this wildflower floral. I also have this gold one, which is super cool. Another watercolor floral. You get the gist. Really great, also super cheap, and they do the job. Okay, so we have our paper taped down. Now comes the scary part. Because I have to perform this for you, and if I don't like the way it turns out, it's kind of like, too bad. I mean, you saw how many practice sheets it took me to just choose a short. So for a long form video, this is a little bit stressful, but hey, people want to know, and I will supply. So we have our paper taped down. Now we need to choose what we're going to draw with. For me, in general, outside of this, drawing with a pencil is my comfort zone, and then outlining with pen. But this isn't something that we can do when I mean, you could, but I would not recommend it for drawing with both hands. You want, especially with a one-line type drawing, you want something bold that will stand out. So I like to use markers or pens right away, which is scary. Yes, it is scary, because you really have to commit, but it's all about learning. It's all about practice. I showed you how many times it took me. So if you mess up 1 or 100 times, that's okay, because it's a process. I'm gonna use what I used in the video, which is just a red and a blue. I actually did this because I don't have two blacks that are the same color. And I also wanted to highlight that I'm using both of my hands. So I thought, what are two colors that work together and would really show the contrast? So I have red and blue. These are alcohol markers. If you don't have alcohol markers, that's totally okay. You can use any other kind of marker. You can also use ballpoint pens, but I would really recommend a felt tip thing like a marker, because you don't have to control the angle of your hand as much or the pressure. It basically just makes a really bold mark that's easy to see very easily, and that's what we want. So it might be tempting to go straight in, and while that's great for practicing, because I'm trying to create something for a video that will look decent, I'm going to look up a couple reference pictures just so that I can get a good understanding of what I want to do before I start it, because once I start, I really can't stop. Alright, so I've chosen my reference picture, which is going to be this one, and before you get any expectations about yourself or about what I'm about to do, I am personally full aware that because I'm drawing with both of my hands, one of which I am better with than the other, and also because this will be about a 3-minute process to do, and it's one line and 2 crazy colors, I am totally not expecting it to come out looking like my picture. The point of having a reference picture is so I have a general understanding of the proportions of my piece. When you go straight in without a reference picture, often it can look kind of wonky because the proportions will be too long or too wide or just too symmetrical, and using a reference picture can help with that because we have an idea of what our proportions are supposed to look like. So while I'm talking, I'm kind of just eyeing this picture, which I'll put on the screen. I'm eyeing it and I'm taking note of how big her eyes are. She has a wide tip nose with small nostrils. She also has very plump lips, a very soft chin, defined cheekbones, but her hair falls over her cheekbones. She has a widow's peak and a middle part, and very thick full hair and prominent shoulders. I'm describing this to help me visualize what I want to do, but definitely not everything I said will appear in my picture, and that is okay. And that will most likely happen for you when you do it, and that is okay. It is okay to look at a reference picture and then create something that's totally different. Art isn't about copying a picture. It can be, if that's what you like and that brings you joy, that is totally okay and valid. But if you're using a reference picture and your art turns out differently, that is also totally okay, and it just means that you had a creative expression that needed to come out. Okay, I'm using this tip because it's symmetrical all the way around, compared to this side, which is the chisel tip. I do not like that. Okay, I have both of my pens here, and I am more dominant in my right hand, so when I draw with both my hands, I do pay a little more attention to my left hand, just so I know what it's doing. I'm taking a good look at my reference picture now, and I just gotta commit. And if I have to do it again, it's just a great example of practicing. Okay, usually I like to start with the eyes and then work down the nose, or vice versa, and then build off of that. So if I don't talk for the next 3 minutes, because I'm concentrating really hard. Okay, let's go. Okay, so that is definitely not probably one that I would post, and that is okay, because it just shows that practice is important. So I'm going to quickly change out this paper and try it again. Okay, I'm back with my fresh sheet of paper, and I'm going to look at the same reference picture, and I'm also going to look at what I didn't like about what I just drew, and I'm going to combine the two and hopefully create something that I like. If I don't, that's okay. Once again, as I've said a million times, practice, 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 practice. and more practice. Okay, let's go. Okay. As you can see, she turned out really cross-eyed. So I am going to try again because I do not want her to be that cross-eyed. So back with another piece of paper in a second. Okay. I would say third time is the charm. It might be this time. We'll see. All right, let's go. Okay, I actually like that one a lot more than my last two. I don't know what's going on here, but she's not cross-eyed and her face isn't wonky. So I might be inclined to post this one, but you get the idea. Even for me, who has been drawing for a majority of my life and is often proclaimed to be very talented, which you guys are so nice. The comments on my videos, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. It really brightens my day when I see some of your comments, so thank you. But my point is that you might be inclined to think that this is something that's natural to some people and impossible for others, and that's just not true. It takes a ton and a ton and a ton of practice. And as I've showed you before, I have done a ton and a ton and ton of practice, even for this video. If you're feeling a little unmotivated or down about your capabilities, I want you to know that there's no such thing as a bad artist, and it is all 100% just practice. There's nothing inherently wrong about you. You are capable. You just need the time and the effort and the dedication, and passion helps too. All right, thank you so much for watching. You are a wonderful artist, and I'll see you next time.